Question 1. Topic: International sale of goods, CISC, and domestic law differences in a case where a U.S. company enters into a contract with a German firm for the sale of specialized industrial equipment. The contract is silent on governing law. When a dispute arises regarding defective equipment, the buyer seeks damages under German domestic law, which provides broader compensation than the United Nations Convention on Contracts for the International Sale of Goods, CISC. The seller argues that CISC should govern the dispute. Under international trade law principles, which legal framework should apply? A. The buyer can apply German domestic law since the contract does not explicitly opt into CISC. B. The CISC automatically applies because both parties are from contracting states unless expressly excluded. C. The dispute should be resolved under U.S. domestic law, as the seller's country of incorporation provides the governing law. D. The choice of law must be determined by an arbitration tribunal, as CISC does not automatically apply in international transactions. Answer B. The CISC automatically applies because both parties are from contracting states unless expressly excluded. Explanation: the CISC applies automatically when both parties to a contract are from countries that have ratified the convention as per Article 118 CISC. The US and Germany are both signatories, meaning that CISC governs unless explicitly excluded in the contract. A. Incorrect. The CISC applies by default unless parties opt out. Silence on governing law does not exclude the CISC. C. Incorrect. The seller's country of incorporation does not determine the governing law in international sales disputes. D. Incorrect. While arbitration may decide disputes, the CISC is the default governing law for contracts between parties from contracting states. Question 2. Anti-dumping measures. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in national manufacturing industry, government finds that foreign competitor is selling its products at prices significantly below their production cost in the domestic market. As a result, local manufacturers are suffering substantial financial losses. The government decides to impose an anti-dumping duty. RWO rules. What conditions must be met to justify this measure? A. The government must prove the existence of dumping, material injury, and causal link between the two. B. The government can impose anti-dumping duties if competitors' price is lower than domestic prices, regardless of injury. C. Government can impose anti-dumping duties without an investigation if local businesses claim they are harmed. D. The W allows anti-dumping measures only if the dumping practice is deliberate and acknowledged by the exporter. Answer A. The government must prove the existence of dumping, a material injury, and a causal link between the two. Explanation: under Article Romans 50, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, and the Anti-Dumping Agreement, anti-dumping duties can only be imposed if three key conditions are met. Existence of dumping. The foreign firm must be selling products at an export price lower than its normal value in the home market. Material injury to the domestic industry. There must be clear evidence that the local industry is suffering due to the dumping imports. Causal link. There must be proven connection between dumping and the material injury suffered. B. Incorrect. Low price alone is not sufficient. Proof of injury is required. C. Incorrect. W rules mandate detailed investigation before imposing duties. D. Incorrect. The W does not require an country's acknowledgement of dumping for duties to be imposed. Question 3. Topic: International trade and environmental law. Carbon border adjustment mechanisms, CBAMs, in an environment where different components must interact efficiently. Country considering implementing carbon border adjustment mechanism, CBAM, seeks to ensure compliance or the CBAM is designed to impose tax on imported goods based on their carbon footprint, ensuring that foreign producers meet the environmental standards as domestic firms. However, a group of exporting nations argues that the measure violates WTO principles. Which of the following factors is most relevant in determining the legality of the CBAM? A. Whether the CBAM is applied in non-discriminatory manner and aligns with environmental exceptions under GATT Article XX. B. Whether the CBAM only applies to specific developing countries to support local businesses in developed nations. C. Whether the CBAM exempts domestic producers from similar carbon-related taxes to prevent economic burdens. D. Whether the CBAM explicitly prioritizes national industry growth over environmental commitments. Answer A. Whether the CBAM is applied in a non-discriminatory manner and aligns with environmental exceptions under GATT Article OMS's explanation. Under GATT Article O, general exceptional EU members may adopt measures necessary to protect human, animal, or plant life or to conserve natural resources, provided they are not discriminatory or a disguised restriction on international trade. Correct. CBAMs must comply with non-discrimination principles, most favored nation and national treatment, and must be justified under environmental protection exceptions in GATT Article OSX. B. Incorrect. A CM that selectively targets developing countries may violate principles of fairness and non-discrimination. C. Incorrect. If domestic producers are exempt while foreign producers are taxed, it would violate WU's treatment principle. D. Incorrect. Or prohibits protectionist measures that explicitly prioritize national industries over legitimate environmental objectives. Question 4. During a critical transition period where existing processes must be aligned with new regulatory requirements, a multinational corporation faces an unexpected challenge. The corporation, which operates in multiple jurisdictions, has been using a uniform supply chain model. However, due to new anti-dumping regulations imposed by the World Trade Organization (WTO), the company's pricing strategy into markets is being scrutinized. The corporation's import prices for particular products are being challenged on the grounds that they are below the fair market value, leading to an investigation into potential dumping practices. Which of the following factors is most crucial for determining whether the corporation is engaging in dumping at WTO rules? A. The corporation's ability to demonstrate that its pricing practices are consistent across all jurisdictions. B. Comparison of the export price and the domestic price of the product in the country of origin. C. The corporation's compliance with contractual obligations under international trade agreements. D. The economic justification provided by the corporation for the differences in pricing between markets. Answer. B. A comparison of the export price and the domestic price of the product in the country of origin. Explanation. Dumping is defined under Article Romans, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, as selling a product in a foreign market at a price lower than its normal value, typically assessed by comparing the export price with the product's price in the domestic market of the exporting country. Members can impose anti-dumping duties if proven that dumping is occurring and causing material injury to the domestic industry. A. Incorrect. Corporations' pricing consistency across jurisdictions is not relevant in determining whether dumping has occurred. If each market operates independently, NULU regulations focus on comparative price analysis between the home and export markets. B. Correct. The key factor in an anti-dumping investigation is whether the export price is lower than the domestic price in the country of origin. This comparison establishes whether the company is engaging in predatory pricing practices in the importing country. C. Incorrect. While trade agreements play broader trade relations, they do not determine whether specific instance of dumping has occurred. Dumping investigations are separate legal procedures governed by WTO agreements. D. Incorrect. Economic justifications may be considered as part of defense, but they do not override the factual determination of whether the pricing falls below the fair market value. Firm facing anti-dumping charges must provide evidence that its pricing strategy is intended to undercut competitors unfairly, or it may be subject to countervailing duties and WTO rules. Question 5. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges intersect, a regional trade agreement, or TA, ACES scrutiny due to allegations of discriminatory trade practices. A member country has filed a complaint claiming that another member is applying preferential tariffs selectively, undermining the principle of non-discrimination. The dispute centers on whether the agreement violates the law, particularly the most favored nation (MFN) principle. Of the following is the most valid legal argument that could be used to defend the preferential trade arrangement? A. The OTA is consistent with Article O of GATT, which allows for trade agreements that do not raise barriers to non-members. B. The complaining country must provide evidence that the preferential treatment has directly harmed its economic interests. C. The OTA is exempt LUU oversight because it is an agreement between sovereign nations. D. The MFN principle applies only to bilateral trade agreements, not regional arrangements. Answer. A. The OTA is consistent with Article O of GATT, which allows for trade agreements that do not raise barriers to non-members. Explanation. Under Article O of GATT, EU members are permitted to form regional trade agreements, ARTAs, and customs unions, provided they meet specific conditions. These agreements must cover substantially all trade between the participating members, not increase trade barriers for non-members compared to pre-agreement level. A. Correct. Article A explicitly allows artas and customs unions, provided they are not used as disguised protectionism against non-members. This is the strongest legal basis for defending an RTA. B. Incorrect. While economic harm may be relevant in some disputes, it is not a legal prerequisite for an RTA to be compliant with LU rules. The legal issue is whether the agreement complies with Article A, whether it harms other members. C. Incorrect. WU rules apply to all trade-related agreements between member states and artas are subject to LU oversight to ensure they do not undermine multilateral trade principles. D. Incorrect. The MFN principle applies to all trade relation W rules unless specific exceptions, such as artas under Article O are invoked. If an RTA violates WU rules, it may be subject to dispute settlement proceedings, potentially leading to required modifications or retaliatory measures. Question 6. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, the government imposes export restrictions on essential goods such as medical supplies. A trading partner challenges these restrictions at the W, claiming they violate international trade commitments under GATT. Which of the following exceptions under GATT is most relevant in justifying the export restrictions? A. Article O permits quantitative restrictions on exports when necessary for national security. B. Article B, which allows trade restrictions necessary to protect human, animal, or plant life. C. Article I, which provides for equal treatment among trading partners. D. Article III, which governs national treatment obligations for imported goods. Answer B. Article LSX B, which allows trade restrictions necessary to protect human, animal, or plant life. Explanation. Under Article LXB of GATT, LU members may impose trade restrictions if they are necessary to protect human, animal, or plant life and health. This is particularly relevant in public health emergencies, such as pandemics, where governments may restrict exports to ensure domestic supply. A. Incorrect. Article XI prohibits quantitative restrictions on imports or exports except in specific circumstances such as temporary shortages of critical goods. However, national security exceptions fall under Article OMSN. Correct. Article LXB is the best legal basis for justifying an export restriction based on health concerns. The government must prove the measure is necessary, not an arbitrary or disguised trade restriction. C. Incorrect. Article I, most favored nation principle, requires equal treatment among trading partners, but does not provide exceptions for public health emergencies. D. Incorrect. Article III, national treatment principle, applies to how domestic and imported goods are treated within a country's market, not to export restrictions. LU allows for temporary trade restrictions during emergencies. Such measures must be proportionate and non-discriminatory, ensuring they do not create unnecessary trade barriers. Question 7. In a competitive landscape where technological advancements redefine industry norms, an international corporation faces allegations of intellectual property (IP) violations. A domestic manufacturer claims that the corporation has been selling patented technology in its market without obtaining proper licensing. The dispute escalates to the WTO's dispute settlement body, with the complainant arguing that the corporation has violated trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights (TRIPS) agreement. Which of the following arguments is most likely to justify the corporation's actions at WTO? A. The corporation acquired the technology through reverse engineering, which is permitted under TRIPS. B. The corporation was unaware of the domestic manufacturer's patent, making the infringement unintentional. C. The corporation's home country does not recognize the complainant's patent, so it is not bound by the IP protections. D. The corporation's actions fall under the compulsory licensing provisions of TRIPS, which allow governments to authorize use of patented technologies without the patent holder's consent under certain conditions. Answer. D. The corporation's actions fall under the compulsory licensing provisions of TRIPS, which allow governments to authorize the use of patented technologies without the patent holder's consent under certain conditions. Explanation. The TRIPS agreement establishes minimum standards for IP protection MW members, ensuring patents, trademarks, and copyrights are respected globally. However, it also provides exceptions, including compulsory licensing under Article 31, which allows governments to grant licenses without the patent holder's permission under specific circumstances, such as public health emergencies. A. Incorrect. Reverse engineering is not universal defense under TRIPS. While some countries permit it for certain technologies, G. Software. Patented inventions generally cannot be copied through reverse engineering without violating IP laws. B. Incorrect. Lack of awareness does not exempt company from IP infringement. Patent holders are not required to notify potential infringers individually. C. Incorrect. WU members recognize each other's IP rights if the patent has been registered in their jurisdiction. TRIPS ensures cross-border recognition of intellectual property protections. D. Correct. Compulsory licensing is valid legal justification if the conditions set by TRIPS are met. The corporation must demonstrate that compulsory license was granted legally and that the patent holder was compensated fairly. This case highlights EU members must balance protection with public policy interests, ensuring that patents do not create unfair market restrictions. Question 8. In a high-stakes negotiation where multiple economic interests collide, a country seeks to impose environmental tariffs on imported goods with high carbon emissions. Several trading partners challenge these tariffs, arguing they reveal EU rules on non-discrimination and free trade. The country imposing the tariffs claims they are justified under blue environmental exceptions. Which of the following EU provisions is most relevant in determining whether the tariffs are legally justifiable? A. The principle of national treatment under Article Roma of GATT. B. The special and differential treatment provisions for developing countries. C. The environmental exceptions under Article AOMIX of GATT. D. The agreement on agriculture, which governs trade restrictions on natural resources. Answer: C. The environmental exceptions under Article AOMIX of GATT. Explanation: under Article AOMIX of EU members may impose trade restrictions for environmental protection provided they are not arbitrary or disguised trade barriers. The key criteria are: the measure must be necessary to protect the environment. The measure must not be applied in a discriminatory manner or as a form of economic protectionism. A. Incorrect. Article Roman through national treatment ensures that imported goods receive the same treatment as domestic goods. However, environmental tariffs may not necessarily violate national treatment if they apply equally to all products with high emissions. B. Incorrect. Although EU allows special treatment for developing countries, this does not automatically justify environmental tariffs. C. Correct. Article AOMIX provides a legal for environmental trade measures, allowing countries to justify restrictions aimed at reducing climate impact. However, the measure must be proportionate and non-discriminatory. D. Incorrect. The agreement on agriculture deals with trade in agricultural goods, not environmental tariffs on manufactured products. A country imposing carbon tariffs must prove they are scientifically justified and applied consistently, preventing accusations of protectionism. Question 9. Amid a global financial crisis where economic stability is threatened, a country enacts emergency capital controls to restrict foreign currency transactions. Several foreign investors claim this violates EU rules on free trade and investment protections under the General Agreement on Trade in Services, GATS. Which of the following conditions must be met for the capital controls to be legally justified under EU rules? A. The measures must be necessary to safeguard the country's balance of payments and be applied in good faith. B. The measures must apply only to foreign investors while domestic businesses remain unaffected. C. The measures must be approved in advance by the EU dispute settlement body before being implemented. D. The measures must be temporary, lasting no longer than 6 months. Answer: A. The measures must be necessary to safeguard the country's balance of payments and be applied in good faith. Explanation: under Article 9, EU members can impose temporary restrictions on capital movements if they are necessary to safeguard the country's balance of payments, implemented transparently and in good faith, gradually relaxed as conditions improve. A. Correct. Article Roman allows capital controls if they are justified by balance of payments concerns. The country must show that the restrictions are necessary and not being used as disguised protectionism. B. Incorrect. Discriminatory capital controls violate EU discrimination principles. Measures must apply fairly to all investors. C. Incorrect. Countries do not need public approval, but they must notify EU committees. Justify the measures if challenged. D. Incorrect. There is no fixed time limit for capital controls, but they must be temporary and reviewed periodically. This case illustrates how financial crises impact trade rules, requiring balance between economic stability and investor protections. Question 10. In a fast-changing geopolitical climate where strategic alliances shape trade policies, a country enforces import restrictions on high-tech goods from a rival nation. The exporting country challenges these restrictions at the claiming they violate free trade principles. However, the importing country argues that the restrictions are necessary for national security. A vision is most relevant in assessing whether the import restrictions are justified. A. Arcelormittal, which allows trade restrictions for national security reasons. B. The agreement on technical barriers to trade, which regulates product standards. C. Article which prohibits unjustified tariff increases. D. The TRIPS agreement, which governs intellectual property protections. Answer A. ArcelorMittal, which allows trade restrictions for national security reasons. Explanation: ArcelorMittal provides a broad national security exception, allowing WU members to restrict trade for defense and strategic interests. However, the measure must not be a disguised trade restriction aimed at economic protectionism. A. Correct. Article 11 allows governments to impose restrictions on national security grounds, especially for dual-use technologies that have military applications. B. Incorrect. The technical barriers to trade (TBT) agreement focuses on product regulations and does not cover security-based trade restrictions. C. Incorrect. Article prohibits arbitrary tariff increases, but national security measures can override commitments if justified. D. Incorrect. TRIPS applies to patents and IP rights, not strategic trade restrictions. The EU members have broad discretion under Article 11, and increasing concerns over abuse of national security exceptions have led to growing legal challenge in WTO disputes. Question 11. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, an organization must quickly decide on resource allocation while ensuring minimal disruption to essential services. However, conflicting priorities arise between departments, each claiming their needs are urgent. Which of the following strategies is most effective in resolving the conflict while ensuring the best overall outcome? A. Allocating resources equally across all departments, ensuring fairness regardless of urgency. B. Prioritizing departments based on senior leadership preferences rather than data-driven needs. C. Establishing a centralized decision-making unit that evaluates urgency based on predefined criteria and real-time data. D. Allowing each department to determine its own priorities independently, avoiding central control. Answer: C. Establishing a centralized decision-making unit that evaluates urgency based on predefined criteria and real-time data. Explanation: emergency responses require structured prioritization to ensure critical operations remain functional. A centralized decision-making unit can analyze real-time data and objective urgency criteria to balance competing demands effectively. A. Incorrect. Equal distribution fails to address differences in urgency, potentially harming high-priority areas. B. Incorrect. Basing decisions on leadership preference rather than data can lead to inefficiencies and political biases. C. Correct. A data-driven, centralized decision process ensures resources go where they are needed most, optimizing outcomes. D. Incorrect. Decentralized decisions risk duplication and inefficiencies, worsening emergency response. This question highlights the importance of structured crisis management and the role of objective criteria in decision-making. Question 12. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical constraints, a manufacturing firm must comply with new safety regulations while maintaining production efficiency. The new rules demand additional inspections that could slow output. What is the most effective approach to balancing compliance and efficiency? A. Implement automation to conduct inspections without disrupting workflow. B. Delay compliance efforts until operational efficiency is resolved. C. Challenge the regulations to negotiate exemptions. D. Reduce production speed to meet compliance without considering alternatives. Answer: A. Implement automation to conduct inspections without disrupting workflow. Explanation: automation allows companies to meet regulatory standards without sacrificing efficiency. Balancing compliance and productivity requires technological solutions, workflow optimization, and proactive adjustments. A. Correct. Automation preserves efficiency while ensuring compliance with safety standards. B. Incorrect. Delaying compliance can lead to legal penalties and reputational damage. C. Incorrect. While legal challenges may be possible, proactively meeting requirements is a more effective long-term strategy. D. Incorrect. Slowing production without exploring alternatives reduces competitiveness and profitability. Question 13. While investigating a complicated issue between different stakeholder groups, an organization discovers that communication breakdowns are causing significant delays. What is the most effective strategy for resolving communication gaps and improving coordination? A. Assigning an independent mediator to facilitate discussions and resolve misunderstandings. B. Allowing each stakeholder group to continue using its own communication style, expecting others to adapt. C. Implementing stricter rules that require stakeholders to document every interaction formally. D. Reducing the frequency of meetings to limit opportunities for miscommunication. Answer: A. Assigning an independent mediator to facilitate discussions and resolve misunderstandings. Explanation: effective communication requires structured mediation where an independent party identifies gaps, clarifies expectations, and aligns stakeholder interests. A. Correct: a mediator helps resolve misunderstandings efficiently. B. Incorrect: expecting groups to adapt without structured alignment leads to continued miscommunication. C. Incorrect: excessive documentation can slow operations without solving underlying issues. D. Incorrect: fewer meetings reduce opportunities for resolution, worsening coordination. Question 14. During a major transformation where existing methods no longer meet business goals, an organization must redesign its workflows. However, employees resist change due to uncertainty and fear of job loss. Which approach is most effective for ensuring a smooth transition? A. Conducting transparent communication and involving employees in decision-making. B. Enforcing the changes immediately, regardless of resistance. C. Offering financial incentives for employees who comply without questioning the changes. D. Replacing existing staff with new hires who are more adaptable to the changes. Answer: A. Conducting transparent communication and involving employees in decision-making. Explanation: change management requires employee engagement, clear communication, and gradual adaptation to reduce resistance and ensure success. Question 15. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges require immediate attention, a project team must manage tight deadlines while ensuring quality control. Which approach is most effective for maintaining both speed and quality? A. Using agile project management to adapt to changing conditions efficiently. B. Prioritizing speed over quality to meet deadlines. C. Relying solely on post-project reviews to fix errors. D. Delegating all tasks to junior staff to increase productivity. Answer: A. Using agile project management to adapt to changing conditions efficiently. Explanation: agile methodologies allow teams to respond flexibly to challenges while maintaining quality standards. Question 16. When implementing backup procedures across various departments, a team faces resistance from employees who find the process too complex. What is the most effective way to ensure compliance? A. Simplify procedures and provide training tailored to different department needs. B. Force employees to follow protocols through strict penalties. C. Reduce the frequency of backups to minimize disruptions. D. Allow each department to develop its own backup process without coordination. Answer: A. Simplify procedures and provide training tailored to different department needs. Explanation: clear, user-friendly procedures and targeted training increase adoption and effectiveness of backup protocols. Question 17. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained, a healthcare facility upgrades its patient records system. Which approach is most effective for minimizing disruptions? A. Running the old and new systems in parallel before full transition. B. Switching immediately and addressing problems later. C. Limiting access to the system until all bugs are fixed. D. Relying solely on vendor support for issue resolution. Answer: A. Running the old and new systems in parallel before full transition. Explanation: parallel operation ensures data integrity and smooth adoption before full deployment. Question 18. When scaling up operations that experience significant inefficiencies, a logistics company must optimize its supply chain. Which method is most effective for improving efficiency? A. Implementing real-time tracking and predictive analytics. B. Reducing shipments to prevent overloading. C. Outsourcing without reviewing the root cause of inefficiencies. D. Increasing warehouse inventory without demand forecasting. Answer: A. Implementing real-time tracking and predictive analytics. Explanation: real-time tracking and predictive analytics reduce inefficiencies by providing data-driven insights. Question 19. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements must be met, a retail chain must standardize customer service protocols. Which approach is most effective? A. Developing a standardized training program across all locations. B. Allowing each location to establish its own service practices. C. Focusing only on corporate level training without store level follow-up. D. Reducing training requirements to speed up new employee onboarding. Answer: A. Developing a standardized training program across all locations. Explanation: standardized training ensures brand consistency while allowing for local adaptations. Question 20. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections must be preserved, a financial institution modernizes its risk management system. Which factor is most critical for success? A. Ensuring new systems integrate seamlessly with legacy infrastructure. B. Replacing all legacy systems immediately. C. Reducing security measures to simplify integration. D. Delaying updates until competitors implement similar changes. Answer: A. Ensuring new systems integrate seamlessly with legacy infrastructure. Explanation: seamless integration prevents disruptions and maintains business continuity. Question 21. In a large organization where multiple departments need to coordinate, a new compliance framework has been introduced, but teams are struggling to adhere to the new standards due to conflicting departmental priorities. What is the best approach to ensure compliance while maintaining operational efficiency? A. Mandate strict compliance without considering departmental concerns. B. Establish cross-functional teams to align goals and compliance needs. C. Penalize departments that fail to meet compliance immediately. D. Ignore minor compliance issues to maintain operational flow. Answer: B. Establish cross-functional teams to align goals and compliance needs. Explanation: A. Incorrect. Strict mandates without flexibility can lead to resistance and decreased efficiency. B. Correct. Cross-functional teams help integrate compliance into operations while addressing departmental needs. C. Incorrect. Penalizing departments without guidance leads to fear and inefficiency. D. Incorrect. Ignoring compliance issues can lead to long legal and operational risks. Question 22. During a critical transition period where existing processes are being phased out, a financial institution is shifting to blockchain-based transactions. Employees are skeptical due to a lack of understanding of blockchain technology. What should management do to facilitate the transition? A. Provide hands-on training and educational sessions. B. Implement the system abruptly to force adaptation. C. Fire employees resistant to change and hire new ones. D. Delay the transition indefinitely until everyone is comfortable. Answer: A. Provide hands-on training and educational sessions. Explanation: A. Correct. Educating employees reduces resistance and builds confidence in the new system. B. Incorrect. Abrupt changes without preparation can cause errors and inefficiencies. C. Incorrect. Firing employees is costly and ignores the value of upskilling. D. Incorrect. Delaying indefinitely hinders progress and may impact competitiveness. Question 23. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures and e-commerce platform experiences random downtime without clear causes, what should be the first step in resolving the issue? A. Restart the entire system frequently. B. Conduct a root cause analysis using log data and monitoring tools. C. Assume the issue is temporary and wait for it to resolve. D. Replace the entire infrastructure immediately. Answer: B. Conduct a root cause analysis using log data and monitoring tools. Explanation: A. Incorrect. Restarting can be a temporary fix but does not address the root cause. B. Correct. Analyzing logs and using monitoring tools helps identify patterns and underlying issues. C. Incorrect. Ignoring the issue can lead to major failures. D. Incorrect. Replacing infrastructure is costly and premature without diagnosing the issue. Question 24. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges exist, a hospital must manage a sudden influx of patients during a health crisis. What strategy should be prioritized? A. Implement an emergency triage system to prioritize critical cases. B. Treat patients on a first-come, first-served basis. C. Limit patient intake to avoid overwhelming staff. D. Wait for external assistance before taking action. Answer: A. Implement an emergency triage system to prioritize critical cases. Explanation: A. Correct. Triage ensures the most critical cases receive immediate attention. B. Incorrect. First come, first served does not account for medical urgency. C. Incorrect. Limiting intake may lead to preventable deaths. D. Incorrect. Delaying action worsens the crisis. Question 25. While investigating a complicated issue between different teams, a project is delayed due to miscommunication. What is the best resolution strategy? A. Assign blame to the team responsible for delays. B. Hold a collaborative meeting to clarify expectations and resolve misunderstandings. C. Cancel the project due to inefficiencies. D. Continue without addressing the issue, hoping it resolves on its own. Answer. B. Hold a collaborative meeting to clarify expectations and resolve misunderstandings. Explanation. A. Incorrect. Blaming teams fosters hostility rather than resolution. B. Correct. Open communication helps identify and address the root cause of delays. C. Incorrect. Cancelling a project without attempting resolution is wasteful. D. Incorrect. Ignoring the issue can lead to continued inefficiencies. Question 26. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a company finds that its manual payroll system is prone to errors. What is the best solution? A. Automate the payroll system with reliable software. B. Hire additional staff to manually verify calculations. C. Accept occasional errors as unavoidable. D. Continue with the current system to avoid disruption. Answer. A. Automate the payroll system with reliable software. Explanation. A. Correct. Automation improves accuracy and efficiency. B. Incorrect. Hiring more staff increases costs without eliminating human error. C. Incorrect. Errors can lead to legal and financial issues. D. Incorrect. Sticking with an inefficient system hinders progress. Question 27. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a manufacturing plant introduces stricter safety measures. Some employees resist compliance. What is the best way to ensure adoption? A. Enforce strict penalties without explanation. B. Conduct training sessions and explain the benefits of compliance. C. Allow employees to choose whether or not to follow the protocols. D. Remove non-compliant employees from the workplace. Answer. B. Conduct training sessions and explain the benefits of compliance. Explanation. A. Incorrect. Strict penalties without education can cause resentment. B. Correct. Training helps employees understand and accept changes. C. Incorrect. Safety protocols must be mandatory. D. Incorrect. Immediate removal is extreme and unnecessary. Question 28. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments, a retail chain notices declining productivity. What should leadership do first? A. Analyze workflow inefficiencies and gather employee feedback. B. Increase work hours to boost output. C. Hire more employees without assessing the root cause. D. Assume the issue will resolve itself over time. Answer. A. Analyze workflow inefficiencies and gather employee feedback. Explanation. A. Correct. Identifying inefficiencies allows for targeted improvements. B. Incorrect. Longer hours may lead to burnout without solving the problem. C. Incorrect. Hiring without analysis may not address inefficiencies. D. Incorrect. Passive approaches lead to worsening productivity. Question 29. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs, a company must balance cost-cutting with maintaining high product quality. What is the best strategy? A. Identify process optimizations that reduce costs without sacrificing quality. B. Cut costs aggressively, even if quality suffers. C. Focus entirely on quality, regardless of cost. D. Make random adjustments and hope for the best. Answer. I identify process optimizations that reduce costs without sacrificing quality. Explanation. A. Correct. Process improvements can achieve both goals. B. Incorrect. Cutting costs too much can reduce product value. C. Incorrect. Ignoring costs affects profitability. D. Incorrect. Random changes lack strategy. Question 30. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a cybersecurity breach has compromised sensitive company data, and the team is overwhelmed with containment efforts. What should be the first priority? A. Identify and isolate affected systems to prevent further damage. B. Notify customers immediately, even before understanding the extent of the breach. C. Shut down all company systems without assessing the impact. D. Wait for external cybersecurity experts before taking any action. Answer. A. Identify and isolate affected systems to prevent further damage. Explanation. A. Correct. The first step in responding to a cyber attack is containment. Isolating affected systems limits the spread of damage. B. Incorrect. While customer notification is important, acting too soon without full knowledge may cause unnecessary panic or misinformation. C. Incorrect. Shutting down all systems could disrupt essential operations and worsen the situation. D. Incorrect. Waiting for external help delays response efforts, allowing the breach to escalate.